Tonight we're going to be doing a campfire story. Haven't done a campfire story in a while. This one's called Sunday Clothes and Spilled Milk. So tonight's story is going to take me back to a Sunday morning, back when I was about 5 years old. Mama had me all dressed up for church, shiny shoes, pressed pants, even had this mop of mine combed and looking right. She looked at me and said with a slight smile, "Now, don't you go outside. I'll be ready in a minute." You know what? She should have known better, because while she was getting dressed, I wandered out that door anyway. The yard was still damp from a night's rain, and there it was, a big muddy puddle by the porch. This is probably a great time to mention this was Easter Sunday. So, and to me, that puddle looked like pure adventure. I poked a toe in, then another. Pretty soon I was knee deep in it, stomping and splashing like it was my full time job. And that's when I spotted it over there in the corner. It had washed up in the ditch. Now you got to understand, the house I grew up in, the ditch was tall. It was about 4 foot tall to adult me, but to child me, it was every bit of 15 or 20 feet. So, but it washed into the ditch was this little container. It was a small coffee creamer container, and the label was peeling just a little bit. The cap was barely hanging on. So, of course, I had to pick it up. I mean, it was there. I had to pick it up and give it a shake. Thick and sloshy shake. And the kind of sound that tells you that that thing went bad a long time ago. So naturally, being in my Sunday clothes and having played in the mud already, I opened it. I popped that top right open and I opened it. Now listen, I can still smell that smell today. It was horrible. As a famous cartoon character says, les pew, les stink. It was nasty. It was like something that should have been buried, not poured. But there I'd already gone too far. I dumped it straight in that mud puddle, grabbed a stick, and started swirling it around, watching it foam. The bubbles were making some kind of magic potion. And right there's the moment. It was just a moment with a kid in the mud. I was a scientist. I was a chef. I was a mud pie artist. And I may have even been a warlock with that stick just storing this potion. And that's when Mama came outside, lipstick half on, shoes in her hand, and she stopped right there on the porch. Because standing in front of her was me. I looked like I'd been wrestling a hog and lost in my Sunday best clothes on Easter Sunday morning. Clothes ruined, shoes gone, and the whole yard smelled like spoiled milk. That's spoiled milk and regret. Mama didn't even yell at me. She just stood there shaking her head, probably saving a little prayer under her breath. And then she said in a very calm voice, "Lord, help me. I can't even turn my back long enough to put on my earrings." Now, this would be a good time to remind you that in those days, they called me Skeeter, out like a mosquito, because I was as aggravating as a mosquito. So, rule number one, mud puddles and little boys go together like biscuits and gravy. And number two, coffee creamer ain't meant for no science experiments. But I'll tell you this, that was one fine Sunday morning. I wound up wearing clothes to church that Sunday that were a little bit too small for me. And my new Easter outfit that had been bought for me had to go to the cleaners because it was nasty. And that's what happens when little boys find a mud puddle and some coffee creamer and some other stuff that they ain't supposed to play with. Well, that's another story in the books, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the follow button. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment, leave a review, share it with your people. click the like button. If you're following on YouTube, ring that little bell so you'll be notified when there's another story out. It could be a campfire story like this, or it might be something a little more serious. Anyway, you don't want to miss out. So ring the little bell, click subscribe, click follow. And what you do by doing that, by sharing it with your people and clicking subscribe, leaving a comment, is you help support the page. And I need all the help I can get. I got this face for radio, and I'm just a poor country boy that lives in a swamp called TicBite. So just remember, TicBite NC, there's honor in the chase, there's respect in the harvest, and there's legacy in the land. Thanks for listening tonight. Hope you enjoyed the campfire story.